Hi YouTube family, my name is Vicky, and in today's video we are going to learn how to log in AWS ec2 machine which is running in a private subnet, or how to use a bastion host in order to connect to a machine which is running in a private subnet. When I'm saying private subnet means there is no connectivity to the external world. So the connection is going to be secure. So we will see step by step how we can create a VPC, and then with the help of the public subnet machine how we can connect to a machine which is there in the private subnet. Things which we are going to cover in this video, it's first we are going to create a VPC, then we are going to create couple of subnets. Once we have the subnet and the VPC ready, then we are going to create a route table, then the NAT gateway, then the internet gateway. Now why exactly we are going to create all those, that is something I will explain later on. Once we are in the process of creating all those things, I will explain step by step why we are doing this step. Then once we have all those things ready, then we are going to launch two instances. One instance we are going to launch in the public subnet, and the other instance we are going to launch in the private subnet. And the one which we are going to launch in a public subnet, we are going to connect that with the internet gateway, and the one which we are going to launch in the private subnet, we are going to connect it with the NAT gateway. And after that we are going to do the testing. So let's see how we can do all those things step by step. For this I need to log into my AWS account. So let me log into my AWS account. Okay, I logged into my AWS account, and the region which I am using right now is Mumbai. Now before creating anything, let me show you the architectural diagram which we are going to follow, or which we are going to create. Now here if you see, we have the architectural diagram, and here we are going to create one VPC. Then we are going to create two subnet, one is public subnet and the other one is the private subnet. Then we are going to create the route table, internet gateway, NAT gateway, which is going to connect to the elastic IP, and then we will see the connectivity between the machines. Or rather I would say the machine which is running in the public subnet, we consider this machine as a bastion host, and we are going to connect to the private subnet machine. For this demo, what I need to do is I need to go to the VPC. Now here we have one VPC created, 3 subnets. So this is the default VPC which is provided by the Amazon. We are not going to touch that VPC, we are going to create our own VPC. So for that we are going to click on create VPC. Now here we have couple of options, like where we can create the VPC, subnets, everything with a single. I'm not going to follow this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the VPC only, and here I'm going to write my demo VPC. Okay, let me copy this thing, and here we need to enter the CIDR. So let me take the CIDR 10.0.0.0/16. Now here IP version 6 I don't need, tendency I don't need, so I will go with the default option and create this thing. Let me go to the VPC again, and here we have one VPC created with the name my demo VPC. Now the next thing which we need to do is we need to create two subnet. So for that I will go to the subnet, create subnet. Here we need to select the VPC which I have just created. I'm going to select that. I need to provide the name. So this one I'm going to say private my demo VPC subnet. Availability zone we can select it. So let me go with this one. Okay, although it is not going to make any difference if I'm not going to select it. You know, Amazon is going to select the best availability zone for me. And let me create it. So we have the private subnet created. Now the next step, we need to create a public one. Again I will select the same VPC. Here I will give the name public, and in the last I will give subnet. Again I can create in any of the availability zone, so let me go with 1A. That's not going to make any difference, or let me select 1C. Okay, 10.0.0.0 slash, no, this is going to be 2/24. Now we have two subnet created, so let me go like this. One is the private subnet and the other one is the public subnet, and the range for the private one is 10.0.1.0.24. Here available IPs are 251, and the same for the public subnet 10.0.2/24, and the available IPs are 251. Now the next thing which we need to do is we need to create a route table. Now why we need to create a route table? Route table is something which is going to route your traffic. Let's suppose you have a machine which you need to connect to the internet. Now how you can connect your machine to the internet? For that you need to do the setting in the route table. Now let me tell you the exact in the layman term. Whenever we are creating a machine, we are creating in a public subnet or in a private subnet. We always create a machine in a subnet, and this subnet is attached to a route table, and in the route table we are going to mention, okay, this can go to the internet, this can go to the NAT gateway, this can go to the other VPC. So all those things we are going to mention in the route table only. So that is why we need to create the route table. So right now we have created two subnet, one is the public, one is the private, but right now we have just given the name. But how we can actually say it's a private subnet or it's a public subnet? It's a public subnet when we are going to connect that to the internet gateway, and it's a private subnet when we are going to connect that to the NAT gateway. So all those settings, connectivity settings like connecting to the internet gateway, connecting to the other VPC, connecting to the NAT gateway, we have to do it in the route table only. Okay, so let's do that. Here I need to give a name. So again I will give something like public, and in the last I will say route table. I need to select the VPC and create. So we have one of the route table created, that is with the name public. I'm going to create one more, and the name is going to be private. And here I'm going to select my VPC. Done. Now we have two route table created. One is the public and the other one is the private. What I'm going to do is I will go inside the public route table, and I will go to this subnet association option, and I will attach the subnet. Which subnet I need to attach? The public one. Okay, save. The same thing I will do it for the private as well. Again I will go to the subnet association, private. Okay, now if I want to check, I can check. Like if I go to the public, I can go to the subnet association, I can see, I can go to the public route table, I can go to the subnet association, and I can see public subnet is connected here. And let me go to the private one, subnet association, private subnet is connected. Now we need to do one more setting here, but that is something we are going to do once we have the internet gateway ready. So for that we need to go to the internet gateway. Now what exactly the internet gateway? Internet gateway which allow us to connect to the internet. Okay, now I'm going to create one internet gateway. IGW is the name, and let me give my demo VPC create. Now once we have the internet gateway created, we need to attach this one to the VPC. So here we have an option to attach to a VPC. Which VPC? Our own VPC which we have created. Done. Now we need to do one more step. The step is we need to go to the route table. We need to go to the public route table, and we need to go to the routes, and here in the routes we need to edit and add internet gateway here. So here we have the option for the internet gateway. Done. So here we have the internet gateway attached, and which one is this? This is a public route table. Let me go to the private route table, and here if we go to the route, and if we are going to click here, see there is no route connected, no NAT gateway, no internet gateway, nothing is connected as of now. Okay, let me cancel this one. Now the next thing which I need to do is I need to create couple of machines. Now what I am going to do is I will create two machines. The first machine I am going to create in the public subnet, and the next machine I will create in the private subnet. So let me go to the launch instance. Let me give a name, public machine, and okay, we can give the VPC name as well, that's okay. I will go with the Amazon Linux. I will go with the default option. It's just that in the key pair I am going to select a key pair. Let me select the VPC. This is the key pair name. Yes, I will go with the default option. I'm not going to change any of the option. It's just that also auto assign public IP is enabled. That's okay. No, we need to select the VPC from here. Yeah, it is using the default one, so we need to change it to this one. And auto assign public IP enable. SSH, nothing I need to do. Let me launch it. So we have one machine which is in the process of creating, that is running in the public subnet. Let me create one more, and this time I am going to create a private subnet machine. Okay, I did one mistake here, so I have not selected the subnet. Okay, this machine is created in the private subnet. Okay, I think you guys will get confused if I am going to change the subnet or if I am going to rename the name here. So let me do one thing. Let me simply delete this thing. Okay, let me terminate so that you guys will not get confused. Okay, let me create the machine one more time. Okay, public machine. Okay, let me go with the Amazon Linux, T2 micro, VPC I am going to select, and here in the network setting I am going to select the VPC, as this one is a public machine. So what I am going to do is I am going to select the public subnet from here. Auto assign is going to be enabled, but rest other thing I am not going to change, and let me create this one. Okay, that's so let me go with this. This is also not okay. So the free tier is not available here. Okay, I need to randomly select and see which one is available for us to use. I think we can go with the T2 medium. No, okay. So the T family is not at all supported in this. Oh, the C family. Okay, so we are getting the same error message. It is not supported. Okay, so if you get an error something like this, what you need to do is you need to create the public subnet one more time, and while creating you need to select a new availability zone. But let me see if we are able to create it inside this only. Otherwise we need to do couple of more steps which I don't want to do. These are the very big machine. If I'm going to select these machine, the billing cost is going to be very high. So that is the reason I don't want to go with these machines. Let me select. Okay, The selected instance type is not supported in the AP South 1C. Now we have no option. What we need to do is we need to go back to our subnet. So here is the VPC, here is the subnet. If you see, this public subnet is created in AP South 1, correct? Let me show it to you. So here it is. If you see, let me change it so that public, and if I'm going to scroll to the right, AP South 1C, we need to change it to AP South 1B or something. So let me do one thing. Let me copy this one, create subnet. Let me select this one. Subnet is going to be this 1B. The range is going to be 10.0.3.0/24, and in yes, so we have this thing created. Now let me do one thing. We need to delete which is running in the 1C, so the last one. Let me delete this one. Okay, so we have the two subnet now. This one we have just created and this one we have created in 1B. Now I need to go to the route table. I need to go to the public route table, and in the public route table subnet association, I need to attach that thing as well. Public, this is the one. Done. Subnet association, yes, it is done. Let me go to the ec2 and let me create a machine. So the name is going to be public machine. Again, I will go with the default option. I only need to change VPC networking. Here I am going to select my VPC. Here I am going to select the public one, enable. The rest other options are fine. Let me create it. Oh, oops, it is not refreshed, I think. So let me go here, launch. Public one I am going to select, to assign IP is going to be enabled. Let me launch it. So finally we have successfully created a machine in the public, and let me check this one. Yes, it is created in the public subnet. And let me do the same step for the private machine. Private machine, I will go with the default option T2 micro. Here in the key pair I will select the VPC, and in the network settings I am going to select my own VPC. Here I am going to select the private one. Auto assign IP is going to be enabled, although it is not going to help us because it's a private machine, so we cannot connect to the internet, so the private IP is not going to help here. So if I am going to go with the disable option or enable option, it's one of the same thing. Let me go with the disable option only, or even let me go with the public option, so that's okay. Let me create it. Now we have two machines which are in the process of creating. Okay, so let me filter it out with the running one. Okay, one machine is created which is there in the public subnet. We are waiting for the other machine to come. Yes, now we have the private machine also created. Now what I am going to do is I will select the public machine, go to the public IP, copy the public IP, go to my terminal, and I will go to that location where I have downloaded my key pair. So my key pair is in the download location. So the first thing which I need to do is I need to change the permission to read only for the key pair, and the command is chmod 400 vpc. This done, and after that I need to log into the machine, ssh-i. Then we need to provide the key pair name, that is the vpc, then the ec2 dash user, that is the default username, @ whatever the public ip we have. Yes, I'm able to log into the machine. This is a public subnet machine. I'm able to log in without any issue. Let me exit. Let me try to log in the same way to the private machine. Okay, ssh-i vpc is the key pair, ec2 is the default username, and let me go to the private one, copy the public ip, paste it here. See, you are not able to log into the private machine. And why we are not able to log into the private machine? The reason is in the route table of the private subnet. See, this is the private one. If I go to the route, there is no route here which allow my machine to go to the internet. Correct? So if I see, I will get the error message here. And if I go to the subnet association, you can see it's a private subnet which is connected. And right now the machine which I am trying to log in is a private subnet machine. See the private machine, and it is in the private subnet only. So we will get the error message soon. Let's wait for the error message to come. Now if I want to connect to the private subnet machine as well, the one way is we can connect the internet gateway, correct? Or the second way, which we generally use in the production environment, that is login with the bastion host. So see the error message we get, connect to the host, port 22, operation timeout, something we got. Okay, now how to log into the private subnet machine? For that, what we need to do is, see, we need two things here. First thing, we need the key pair. Key pair is which one? The vpc.pem, right? And the other thing which we need to go to the same subnet, same vpc first, then from there we need to log into the private subnet machine, correct? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cat the vpc.pemp here. I'm going to copy the content of this, and I'm going to log into my public subnet machine. So which one is my public subnet machine? This is my public subnet machine. So let me go to ec2 here. Let me select the public machine. If you see, the public IP is 15 something, 15207, the same IP, correct? Now here what I need to do is, in order to log into the private machine from this machine, consider this public machine as a bastion host. What I need to do is, I need to have the key pair with me. While creating this private machine, we have selected one key pair, correct? And the key pair name is this, VPC. So I need to have that key pair here first. So for that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do the nano. I'm going to create a key pair. So any name I can give. It is not something where I need to give the VPC only. I can give like key dot key pair, something like this I can give. Let me click enter, paste it the content here, save it. The next step is chmod 400 I need to do, and after that the same command, ssh-i, whatever the name of the key pair, default username, ec2 dash user @ private machine. This is the private machine. Let me copy the private IP address 10.01.20. Bingo, I'm able to log into the private subnet machine as well, correct? Now one more thing, let me exit from here. Right now I'm in which machine? I'm in 10.0.3209. So which machine is this? This is a public machine, correct? Now from this machine, let me do a ping to the machine which is running in the private subnet. This is the IP. I'm not able to do the ping but I'm able to log into the machine. So that means the SSH is enabled but not this traffic. So if I need to enable this traffic, if I need a ping response, then I need to open the ICMP traffic as well. And where I need to open it? For that I need to go to the subnet, or sorry, to the security group. So this is the security group. So here if you see, in the security group I have only SSH enabled. I also need to enable ICMP. Now, okay, so where we have enabled it, let me go back to my machine. So where is my machine? I think by mistake we have opened it in the public subnet machine, but let's check it out. Let me select the private machine. Let me go to the security one more time. Yeah, let me go to the edit and let me add the ICMP traffic. So here is the one. See, we are getting the reply. So that means for each and everything we have a dedicated port. Like for the SSH we have port number 22. For ICMP we have a different port. So we need to open that as well.